is and talking about community and how we can all do more and actually learn stuff. So this is just sort of to cover the basics of what's going on with that. And then if anybody wants to talk about it more, I'll be around all day. And we definitely have our community website. So I'm Addison Berry. I'm Adwin's son on Drupal.org and on the interwebs. I work for Lullabot. I'm the product manager for Drupalize Me and Director of Education at Lullabot. But I live in Denmark. So we're a distributed company, so I can work from anywhere, and I chose to move to Denmark. So, we have a big problem in our community in that there aren't enough people actually working, contributing generally, but specifically people are not working on Drupal core for a lot of different reasons. But if you look at the number of people who are contributing to core, you can see in Drupal 7 the number is really quite high, we're up to 1,000 compared to way back in the day. But if you look at it from another angle, the percentage of people, like the community has grown massive, but the actual percentage of people who are contributing has gone down significantly. And we're actually down below 0.15%. That's not 1.5. This is 0.15% of people who use Drupal are actually helping. So it's kind of a sad number. Another way to look at it real quickly is this green thing here. This is the stuff that's actually been worked on and is ready for our core committers to actually work with. And all the rest of this is work that still needs to be done. And we're talking thousands of issues. There's also this fun graphic you've not seen before. Things are getting a lot more complicated in the Drupal world, and so the learning curve for Drupal is getting frightening for a lot of people. And that makes it harder for people to contribute because it's overwhelming. So we need to make it easier, and that's where this Drupal ladder concept came up with. Basically, a bunch of community people were having a talk, probably drunk one night after some sort of Drupal event. But they talked about this concept of having a Drupal ladder to kind of bootstrap people. And so what it would consist of is make a list of the ways that people can contribute, then put it like in a progressive order so that people actually know like what the order is that makes the most sense. And then make each step sort of its own thing, and then if you've done the prerequisite for it, the next one is actually doable, rather than learn how to install Drupal, now like, patch a core issue. Like it's just, that's not a good step. And then you have to make the very first step on the ladder easy for anybody. So what ended up happening is in Boston, Brian Hirsch and the Boston user group actually, they took the idea and ran with it, and they actually piloted a program to build it, to build the ladder and figure out what worked, what didn't work. Can people actually contribute trying to do this? And that was called the Boston Initiative. And they basically ended up doing things in two different ways. They created the ladder, they actually wrote lessons out on the ladder, and then they learned that there were sort of two ways to sort of approach getting the work done. One was to have what they call a Learn Sprint, where you would just get together at a meetup, and they would basically spend an hour, 2 hours for their meetups, and everybody would take a lesson on the ladder and do the lesson, and help each other out and figure it out. And then you would move up to the next step, the next lesson on the ladder next time that you met. But basically, it was like it's like a big learning meetup. And then after they had done learning meetups, they started doing issue sprints where people actually pair up and work on core issues together. And for me, this is kind of a really big thing because I have worked on core very little. And it was a long time ago, and I feel like where Drupal core is now is completely overwhelming. But the idea of having somebody who is more familiar with what's going on pick an issue and I can work with them on it sounds a lot safer and saner to me. So, but basically you go through and fill out an actual whole spreadsheet, select all the issues that are going to be worked on of the sprint ahead of time, and then people can pair up or match up with somebody and actually work through things together. And so they basically would kind of alternate this in their meetups spend time learning, and then spend time actually working on core issues as a group. So from all of that effort that those guys did and are still continuing to do, these are resources that are available now. So there's a website called learndrupal.org. It's not particularly pretty at the moment, but it's where they're basically putting the ladder where all the lessons are. You can create your own lessons, you can create your own ladders. It's a community effort to keep getting more lessons in there on different things. They're right now focusing on Drupal core and trying to get people involved in core, but there's nothing to say that this also can't be used for doing things in contrib. Like if people want to learn, how can I contribute back to views module because my life depends on it. Creating an actual path for people to figure out how do I contribute, what do I need to do. So all that stuff's on learndrupal.org. There's also a project called the Learn Project, which is actually an installation profile. And if you get that, you can basically have a local version of learndrupal.org on your own laptop. And you can like have the stuff locally to work with. And we also have a group on group.drupal.org, learn-drupal. That's to just talk about like I said, hey, I'm going to do a meetup and I want some ideas and talk about some stuff. And so that we have conversations about like how are the sprints going, how are the meetups going. We're sort of a support group for people who are trying to make the Learn Drupal project itself happen. Also people who are trying to maintain the Learn Drupal website, all that kind of stuff. So this is sort of the working group for us to organize ourselves and keep things coordinated. And it's a great place to come in with like suggestions for, you know, we'd like to do this, but I don't know what the hell's going on, or we tried this and that was really weird. And so that's where we tend to have these conversations. We also have an IRC channel called Learn Drupal. It's not very busy. There's only like probably about a dozen of us, 12. I'm not very much of a dozen, so. But we do have that IRC channel as well. So there are actual goals, like this was an idea that people came up with, but they actually have goals that they're shooting for as well to keep trying to drive this whole idea and project forward. If we go back to this chart, remember it's less than 0.15% of people contributed to Drupal 7. So Brian's goal is to get 1% of people using Drupal contributing core by 2014. So that's a year and a half. And that's a big difference in percentage. So that's pretty intense. I think he's a little bit crazy, but I think it's awesome. In terms of things that are more digestible, by August, which is basically, this is by DrupalCon Munich, we want to get at least 10 more local meetup groups kind of running these sprints, at least like every other month or something like that, and trying to progress it and trying to spread the number of people who are actually contributing at meetups rather than just sharing information. We also want to relaunch Drupal.org, the LearnDrupal.org website, so that it's nicer, that it's more user-friendly. And so if people are into wanting to play around with the website and help make it better, there's definitely tickets for this in the issue queue, and we need a lot of help with that. And then there's also the Learn Drupal project, that installation profile I talked about. That is a project on Drupal.org with an issue queue as well. And so they're trying to get that installation profile to work better and have all of the tools that people really need out of the box built into it. So if you're sort of like a community person, an organizer, or somebody who wants to get involved yourself with contributing core and stuff like that, and you want to help get stuff organized, you can help out with that stuff. If that sounds like really not your cup of tea, but you do like to hack around and tinker on things and theme and develop and do site building and stuff, you can definitely help out with those two as well and still be contributing to the overall effort. So, yeah, but the point of this is to get involved. Like, I can tell you lots of stuff, and I can give you lessons, and we can, like, do all this stuff, but, like, unless people actually get involved with this, it's not going to get any better. And we're going to keep putting more pressure on fewer people to deliver Drupal core, which probably everybody in this room depends on in one way or another. And so it's kind of, we don't have to invest your life. You don't have to go to all the events all around the world. You don't have to say I'm going to spend half of my work week to contribute to Drupal. If you can spend half an hour every couple of weeks contributing to Drupal, then you're going to help move the entire project along. And if you think of thousands of people doing that, then we're suddenly going to be helping those few people who are trying to carry the whole load. So that's my appeal to you guys. We're going to have a sprint in Copenhagen on May 12th. So if anybody's interested in coming down to Copenhagen and hanging out for the weekend, it is. I just added it to the Sweden group. GDO. It's also in the Denmark group. But it's going to go from like 12 to 5. This sprint is not just about Learn Drupal. We're going to be doing Learn Drupal stuff, so we'll be doing lessons in the ladder, and actually like sitting around and helping people get set up and learning how to use Git and all of those kinds of things and learning how to deal with issues in the issue queue. But there's also going to be people actually working on core issues. We're going to set up that whole thing where we have a spreadsheet where people can pair up, so if you want to work on an issue with somebody, you can do that. There's also going to be translation sprints and some other community type sprints, projects and stuff like that going on. So it'll be a lot of stuff. So if you're around, it's not that far away. It'd be a good thing to do. And if you can't make it down there, but you guys are interested in trying to do something here, with doing meetups or doing a sprint or something around that, I'm perfectly willing to come back up here and help out with that. Because I know it's a little like weird and overwhelming to say, oh yeah, sure, I'll organize this thing I don't even understand. So I'm totally willing to make myself available to help out if anybody's really interested in that. So feel free to talk to me today. If you want to think on it for a few days, you can always contact any of us in the Learn Drupal group, GDO or in the IRC channel. We have a group of people who want to help, so we can help you help the community. And that's all I got. So thanks, guys.